What's up everybody, Danny Greco, Keller Williams here, and today I want to look at a number of ways of how you can analyze rental properties or investment properties. Now, I'm going to preface by saying there are a lot of different ways different investors can analyze what works for them in a rental property, and I'm just going to kind of look into the properties I have and show you what I was thinking around the time I purchased it and how it's kind of working out for me now. But again, this doesn't have to be the one way to look at analyzing rental properties. So I've made a spreadsheet that I can share, and I have two rental properties. So rental property number one, a few different stories with both. So this is actually the first home I bought for myself as a principal residence. So because I did that, my down payment, I only put down 3.5% at the time, was very little. Purchase price was roughly $348,000. This was my down payment thereabouts. These numbers are going to be pretty rough too, and this doesn't take into account improvements I've made over time, any vacancies, anything like that. So this is a very, very surface level and therefore not 100% total accurate look at how to analyze properties, but I'm not going to put a 30-minute video together and bore you to death over that. So interest rate 3.875%. Again, that's been lowered since the time I initially had it as well. The mortgage roughly $2,000. My current rent I get is roughly $2,800. NOI, so this is net operating income. Essentially, what is your income at the end of the year minus your expenses? What is that net? And that's about $9,500. Now, cash on cash return is primarily the main thing I look at when analyzing cash flow on a rental property. What return am I going to get on that investment through rents? And again, I'm not taking into consideration improvements I've made, any vacancies, anything like that. And the reason why I love this property as a rental and why I think everyone should look at buying a home, especially a first home, and converting that into an eventual rental property is because your cash on cash return can be insane. Again, I only put down roughly $12,000. The amount of rent I'm getting, $9,500 a year, that's about a 78% cash on cash return. Crazy. Again, not totally reflective of the real story, but even if this is 60%, 55%, that's insane. You're just not going to get returns like that anymore. Now, the other side of the coin when it comes to investing is the appreciation, obviously. And this is true for any home. It doesn't have to be just an investment home. So you're getting cash flow on the one side, which is great, but also the home's appreciated quite a bit. So I currently, the current value is roughly around $700,000. I only owe about $225,000, again, financed at 3.875%. So I have $475,000 in equity wealth. So again, the real story I want to show here with rental number one is just how much of a killing you can make by converting a former primary residence into a rental property. And again, if I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't even have bought this property. I would have looked at buying like a duplex or triplex or something like that, and hopefully even gotten better returns there too, let alone a higher appreciation rate too. Rental property number two is a property that I bought purely as an investment. I never lived in it, never intend to live in it, anything like that. This was purchased a few years ago. Purchase price was right around $585,000. I think we got like $10,000 in closing costs or something. So you had to put 25% down. You're buying an investment property, so you have to put down a lot more than what you would as a minimum on the owner-occupied side. So I had about $144,000 down payment. My interest rate, and this is just what's so crazy, interest rate 3.625. I'm never gonna have to touch that ever. I mean, just think how crazy that is to get a 3.625 30-year fixed interest rate on an investment purchase. That's just nuts. So my mortgage is roughly about $2,600 a month. I am getting now $3,500 a month in rent. When we first put it out for rent, this number was obviously lower because taxes increase every year, so your payment's going to increase, and we're getting about $2,800 a month. Now it's about $3,500 a month. So in the few short years we've owned this home, our rents have gone up about 25%. However, this was never looked at as a cash flow rich property. And we don't have a huge NOI on this one, even though it's greater than the one above. Because I put down so much more money, my cash on cash return is about 1/10 of what it is on the first one. Now, this isn't bad, and certainly something at these figures today would be really, really good. Now, of course, inflation's around this number right now too, so that's not a great number either. But historically, this would actually look pretty good. However, it's taken 3+ years for us to get to numbers like this. However, the big asset, the big draw to this property was the appreciation component. And in the few years we've owned it, this has really almost doubled in value, going from $585,000 to roughly $1 million. And there's other parts of the property too that can make it a little more valuable as well. So just in equity, we've got $585,000 there as well. So what's important about this is the amount of equity that I have allows me to possibly draw from that to invest in other areas or invest in different properties, different investments, whatever it is too. So again, there's a number of ways to look at rental properties and how to analyze them and how to determine what you value in a property. Rule number one, even if you're just looking at appreciation, which is typically what our market is going to offer, I never recommend buying when you're not cash positive, and that's getting very, very hard to do with rates increasing, values increasing. You're having to put down a lot more money to get to a point where you're cash positive on the rent. So that's getting trickier to do, and by doing that, your cash on cash return is going to be a lot more poor. But again, there are a lot of ways to skin the cat when it comes to evaluating and analyzing these properties and how they work for you. So I hope that helped. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know, and would love to hear your stories too.